Hey David, how are you? I can hear you, David. I don't know if your mic is mute.
Sorry, this technology doesn't always do what I want it to do,
Uh,
you know?
Yeah, that's very pretty normal in life.
Yeah. Very happy to say hello to you and the big audience that we have, like
Like
okay,
zero viewers.
300,000 people, no, 3 million, no, actually, it's like 7 billion people that are not watching us right now, but maybe will in the near future.
Yeah, well, if they are not watching us alive, they will probably will watching us on the recalentado. I don't know what to say that in
Ah,
English.
the leftovers.
The
Yeah,
leftovers.
exactly. We'll be sending the yes, yes, yes.
Well, we changed the schedule. Probably that's the problem right now, right?
Yeah, probably they will be joining a little later, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But well,
Yeah.
you have something to do, so let's get on business right now.
Yeah, sorry
Don't
to the
worry.
audience. But
Don't.
yeah, let's get down to business, like as you said. How are you? How are you? It's a great background that you have there. Eh? Very impressive. Really nice.
It's nice, right? Uh,
Very much, very much.
I'm,
I
I'm,
have to work on mine.
oh yeah. Well, and you are not watching right now, or main setup for the YouTube channel is really nice. It's really cool.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I will. I'll try to see it to connect, but I don't know how to actually.
Well, you can go online in your phone to YouTube and watch it there.
I am actually on the page. I am on That Talks Mexico.
I know we are having still issues to broadcasting in Dark Talks Mexico.
Ah,
Uh,
okay. So you can tell our audience where to find it.
yes, we are. Well, we are transmitting through the same place we transmit last week. We are going live to my YouTube channel Nayo 022. Today in the morning, I found that we have the issue that we need to have 50 subscribers in order to be able to go live on YouTube.
Ah, no, not a problem. In a few minutes we will have that and more.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Okay.
you can see it right here. Today's
Yeah.
topic is 10 tips on how to learn English. And we are going to, we did a list. Today in the morning, we have a very productive meeting in which where we decide what we are going to use for today's podcast, right?
Totally, totally. Yes. Very interesting because but why don't you start? Why don't you actually? I was gonna say you brought up these topics, and I found them really interesting, really, really interesting
Well,
for people in general.
well, we were talking about that. We want you to have an idea of how to learn English, but in family, right? The topic is that we want you to do it together with your kids and your family or whatever you are decided to bring in into the language of English. So the first tip that we have today for you is to practice. I have 4 points, and David will help me to develop the points as we go along. The first one is you can watch movie in English, not subtitles or English subtitles, and then talk about it as a family, right? To see what you get, what you miss. I mean, the point is that to open a conversation between you, and so it is kind of fun because you are watching movies that you probably like, right? The second one is to listen music. I mean, if you can do karaoke, a karaoke night 1 day a week with your family, and most of the songs are in English, that will help you a lot. Believe me, I know that for a fact. The third one is to create a book club within your family. No, you can read books in English and then talk about it. Like like 40 years old ladies does it with her friends. The only difference is that there won't be wine in the conversation.
Or snacks.
and
Uh-huh.
and the fourth one is to play games in English. You know, do charades or stuff like that. You know, I mean, I bet it gotta be fun to do a charade game with your family. You know, guessing the movie or guessing the character, whatever. I don't know. What do you think of the first tip, David?
It is very, this is really interesting in many dimensions. When I need to tell you this for the audience to know, I started teaching English the last century. It was like 1995. Imagine 1995. You
Wow.
weren't even born. You were a baby then, back then.
Well,
Eh,
1995, I was already 16 years old.
16 years old. I was wow, very cool age. No, I started teaching in uh, I've been listening to people saying, oh, I need to. Um, I watch sitcoms or I watch movies and I watch this and that, etc. I think that the most important thing is to do it. It doesn't matter how, but there are some tips. Yes, there are some tips to this. What is the tip? My first tip about related to the movies is this: you have children, I have children, and we know that children love to watch over and over the same movie.
Yeah.
This is very interesting to stop. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. There is a very good cognitive reason for this.
Uh huh.
But in a nutshell, let me tell you, children, what they do is they see different layers. Okay.
Okay.
So the first time they watch a movie, they see like the surface.
Uh huh.
And when they watch the movie again, it's like they're watching a new movie.
Okay.
Yes. They're reinforcing connections in their brains.
Uh huh.
And they're discovering stuff that they didn't see the first time they watched it, and so on and so forth. That's the reason why every time they watch a movie, they're like they find it amazing, because it's actually their brain that is releasing dopamine and making them so happy to watch this, even though they know exactly what the character will say, how they will say it, and all that. It's actually strengthening those links.
Okay. Cool.
So my recommendation is use that. Use that. So if a child wants to see a movie they already saw in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
great. But now do it in English. It doesn't. It's very uncomfortable. Let me tell you, it's very uncomfortable because the brain is not as happy, because the brain is not getting the same the same is not getting the same information. So the brain is trying to rediscover. It's difficult, but if you do it two, three, four, eventually, kids get used to it.
Oh,
It's not that they're going to love it right away, but eventually they will start liking it, and eventually they will start making it a habit.
but well, you know what? I remember my kids when they were super young. They like to see the same movie over, like you say, over and over again. I mean, at certain point, they know the lines of the movie. So
Totally.
if you put it on English, they are putting context into the English language that they are hearing at that moment. So it probably will be uncomfortable. It won't be what they want, but it will help you a little bit.
Totally, totally. And let me tell you something. It's not that simple because children will fight you.
Yeah, of course.
So they will say, no, 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 in Spanish, in Spanish, in Spanish, especially if you haven't done it since they are like very, very young.
Yeah.
If you do it like from the very start when they're babies, before they speak, it's going to be natural for them. Eventually, but if you start doing this a little later, they will fight you. They'll say, yeah, you know what? You want to watch it again, but watch it in English, and then you watch it in Spanish, okay?
Cool.
But try to force a little bit, and you'll see. Even if they don't pay a lot of attention to it, even if it's just playing, which is a tip for the listening,
Mm-hmm.
yes. These tips are connected. Our brain is amazing. Our brain captures, picks up information that is floating in the ambience. So if you're doing whatever and you're playing music, your brain is with the music. Even if you're, thinking about your problems or cooking or cleaning or working, your brain's connected to the music.
Yeah.
Well, the same happens with podcasts. if you even if you don't pay attention to a podcast, but if you play a podcast in the background in English
Uh-huh.
over 2 3 times, even if you don't even if you don't speak English, and this is the secret, okay, even if you don't speak English,
Uh-huh.
your brain will little by little capture features, characteristics of the language, like
Okay.
velocity, intonation, pitch, phrasing, a lot of things. So this is not going to make you speak English perfect right away, but it's a good start.
Cool. That's cool tip. Okay. Today we are a little bit short on time, so let's go to the next tip. Okay. We were talking in the morning about school, English schools, and we kind of find out that there are three different moments in your life that you will need an English school. The first one is like the beginning of it all. You know, the first time you get in touch with English, somebody that will teach you the basics, the like when you are learning Spanish, right? The saying I am, you are, you know. The second part is when it comes when you are an adolescent, right? That you are like trying to have a better understanding of the English part, and you are starting to speak it a little bit, and you will take it at school probably, or your parents will take you to English schools to learn it a little bit. And the third part is when you are a professional and you need to have the proficiency in order to be able to communicate with people from other countries, from other professionals, or you are in the need to write or send mails in English. So there are three different times when you probably will need a school, because in these three different periods of your life, the English will be completely different. What do you think, David? Give us a tip regarding this part. How to choose a school or where to go at this point of the life, whatever of the three
Well,
parts is.
well, and I need to ask you because for me, both sides are really important. Yeah, from my side, what I can tell you is I was telling you this morning, uh, it is a very tough decision for the parents.
Yeah.
No, to where should I take my kid? How much do I have to? Is it how much is it? Fair to pay for an English lesson? I was telling you, it is really interesting because it's connected to a lot of things that happen to you when you're a parent. When you're a parent, you try to cater for your kids and give them everything they need. And one of those things is providing them with all of the necessary abilities for them to be functional and successful as when they're adults, but also throughout their study history. So the point is, what is the best decision? What school? Which school do you recommend? And I get that all the time. Parents tell me, "Teacher, you know a lot about this. You've been here and there, and you be." And the problem is really much bigger than just what school fits their needs best. Everybody has a learning way. Maybe one maybe in the future we'll talk about learning styles, because learning styles is a very interesting topic. There's this idea that some people are more kinesthetic and some are more auditory, some are more visual. I've found a lot of people say, no, I am very visual. And there's studies that say that is has no basis. Yes, we to this day there's no scientific proof that somebody is like 100% or 70% or 50% visual. It has to do with strategies, with moments. Yes, people when people tell me, well, I am very very visual, I can tell you, you know what, you're visual for certain things. There are things that you cannot be visual for. Yes, one of those is speaking.
Hmm.
You need to be more like auditory because what you're learning is to reproduce a sound. So you cannot be visual there, you see. So but we're under the impression, and I'll tell you the story of that in another uh, opportunity. There's a very interesting story about this hoax or this myth about different learning styles. However, if you put everything together, not not all of us have the same strategies to learn. So one school is going to be good for a certain number of students, not for all of them. And we're talking about English schools, okay? Because this morning we were talking about something that's really, really interesting. Most parents say, I want to take my kid to a good elementary school so that I don't have to pay for an English school.
Well, that could be the tip for schools, right? You should, if you are able to, if you have the economic capacity of sending your kid to a school where they already have English, do it. It will help you, and you will end up saving money if you want to your kid to learn English, because you will pay the school and you will pay them the English classes. So as soon as they can start is better. But you need to be certain that at a certain point in your life, because this happened to me, once you need the proficiency to speak English in a very advanced level and be able to communicate to other people, you will need to go back to school. There's no way around this, because the reality is that all schools teach you an English that I don't know how high it can be, but I mean, I know that there are schools that are really good, but it will come up into a point when you are a professional into a work that any school will teach you the language and the vocabulary that you need in order to be able to communicate with other professionals, especially if they are abroad or in a different country. Okay.
Yeah, what you're saying is super interesting. Me, right now I'm lucky enough to be a part of a project in which we have to work with a team of
India.
people in New Delhi, and it is so hard. And when the students tell me, teacher, I have this mission, I have to, you know what, it's really difficult. Nobody does that. No school prepares you to talk to people from other and this is a very important issue, so much so that international exams now
Uh-huh.
evaluate you with audios from non-native speakers,
That's a very
right?
interesting point, because I mean the problem is not talking to a native speaker from United States or UK. The problem is when you are talking to a guy from another country that is not a native speaker, like India, like I don't know, Africa, whoever. I mean, even in talking to
Hmm.
an Australian is super hard because they talk a very different English that we know of.
Yeah, so what editorials are doing right now to comply with these standards is now, like today I was in a school presenting some material, a book, and it was amazing for the teachers to discover that for children in first grade of elementary school, there are audios with people from different areas in Europe, from people from Spain speaking English, of course, people from Ukraine, people from Germany speaking English, because they now from from a very early stage in their progress, in their learning process, they need to be exposed to the new reality of the planet.
Yeah.
That there are more non-native speakers of English speaking English on the planet than native speakers.
Oh yeah. Imagine speaking to a Chinese English, and you are not able to communicate because your English is not good enough. I mean, for sure, probably the most likely is that a Chinese guy won't have a good enough English. So you need to be ready in order to be able to communicate with them. I mean, this is a hard topic. You might don't see it right now if you're not into this situation, and your kids don't see it right now because there's no way that they are right now into that situation. But believe me, it will come a point into you have to communicate to a people from a non-native English speaker, and you will have a lot of trouble communicating with them, especially talking just when you are a professional.
Yeah, and let me tell you something that's really, I think I perceive very important. Many of my private students tell me English is a must for me because I have very good ideas and I have very good solutions for the problems that my company has. But I don't have the ability to go to my director, to the general manager, to the regional manager, and directly tell them, you know, I think this and this should. So I have to go through other channels, and when I go through other channels, my message just disappears, or it ends up being somebody else's idea.
Yeah.
So
But
right
I,
now,
we will get into that point because it's not only a matter of knowing English, but it's also a matter of having the set of skill of communicating stuff properly.
right,
But
that's
we
correct.
already talked about it this morning about that. That will be subject for another podcast because it's very wide and it's very complex to get into that point that you are able to communicate effectively whatever you need to say to other people. It's not as easy as you guys think. And we've been talking this morning that a lot of time the problem is the boss, not even the employees. But we don't get into that point. Let's go to the next point, which is let's do something like a family together. Let's take a vacation on the United States, which is, I mean, we've been talking in the morning about certification and how, well, the different companies are starting to have certification even for kids in 7 years old, and the parents is like taking the bait because they want to know that their kids are taking as the best advantage they can of learning English, so they ask them to do a certification for them, which is, I mean, we've been talking in this morning until you are 16 or 17 years old and you are getting ready to go to college, and probably you are deciding to go to college in the States, you shouldn't do a certification. There's no a point of doing that. You want to know if your kids are going well in English? Okay, take them to the United States and let them talk to other people. And let's see how it goes. What do you think, David?
Totally, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not something that is very possible for most of the people
Well, you
for
can travel
various
to
reasons.
Tijuana and then go into get a drive to in car to Indio, California. It's not that complicated.
No, no, actually no. But let me tell you, many of the people that I work with, they tell me, yeah, you know what, we go to Disneyland. But Disneyland, everybody speaks Spanish. I mean, if you go to
Well, yeah, if you go
to
to California, everybody speaks Spanish. Yes, for
right.
sure.
So, but no, and something that is happening is that now more and more the touristic sites in the states, they're trying to, in the past it was not like that. In the past, if you went to the states, nobody would speak any other language but
Well,
English.
it all depends on what states of the United States you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not the
But
same. I mean, North states in the United States are not speaking Spanish at all. The middle area, that redneck area that they are still in the wild, there's not a
uh-huh.
lot of people speaking Spanish. But the metropolitan areas like California, New York, probably Miami for sure, there's a lot of Spanish speakers. So yeah, I mean, I remember that when I went to the States, I went to Salt Lake City, and there weren't too many people speaking Spanish. I mean,
Hmm.
very little.
Yeah, so that's the point. If you're planning on a vacation in the states, you have to plan on something that represents a possible challenge. No,
Yeah,
like maybe going, I don't know, to Yellowstone or something,
yeah,
something different, something that's not like that touristic, something that's not like that
something different.
something a
Don't
little
go,
different. Yes,
don't go to
uh,
Disney.
to go to Disney, because Disneyland is really actually there. You have like 2 or 3 opportunities to speak English with people. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can go. But if you're going because you want to practice your English, well, that's probably not the best of the ideas. But go to New York. Go to
that's
New
a
York.
yeah.
No,
Yeah. I agree.
yeah, take
Yes,
a trip,
yes, I
yeah,
agree.
and you'll see, yeah, and you'll find yourself with a big challenge.
A super big challenge, yes, especially because New Yorkers had a very weird way to speak English. They have their
Yeah,
own slang. We will get to the part of the slang, and I mean, depending where are you going to the states, they will speak very differently. If you go to Wyoming, you will find yourself in a lot of trouble because those people are like Veracruzanos talking English.
well, the other thing I wanted to touch on is that if that's not in your possibilities, if planning, there are a lot of things that I love the ideas that you collected. Playing games, board games. Playing board games is just by itself an amazing thing. But playing board games in English
Yeah,
is great with the family.
Yeah, play
No,
turista in English.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like going on vacations.
This you can do with very little children. Play
Yeah.
bingo, right?
Mm.
I know it's a tradition, the lottery, and blah, yeah, yeah, right, yeah. But why not one night? One night. I have one of my students, for example. He tells me they have like Pizza Friday, and Pizza Friday is like it's sacred. It's something they don't touch. Yes, it's just the family, it's the mom, the dad, the kids, and they watch movie or they plan something in the family. Why not in English? What you're saying is
Yeah.
amazing. It's a very good idea because it's sharing
Well,
the experience. No,
I have another solution for you. You can go to La Condesa, and there's so many Americans
totally
right
yes.
now there. I mean, I was there last Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday last week.
Gentrification. Yeah.
Yes, I was there buying some bread. There's a bakery there called Rosetta, which is really good, and half the people that was there was Americans. It was weird.
I it's the new it's our new reality.
Yeah,
Yes, this is happening, and that's one of the reason why these tips are so important.
yeah,
Because they are the honest truth. We wanted to talk about this because there is the side of the schools are trying to convince you to pay for their services, and for us to make a decision for us personally or for our kids, what school is better. Well, it's like we don't know if we're not an English teacher, if we're not in this uh, um, area, we don't know what. So we normally go for price. You say, well,
yeah,
because I don't have enough money, I'll pay for like the small one that's like in my neighborhood, and that the guy in front of I don't know where holds, and there's like two teachers and like that,
yeah.
or I pay for like the most expensive one, no, because again, I don't know much, and I have to find a way to make a good choice, and money
Well,
may
we were
be a
we
good.
were talking today in the morning that I feel that there is like three really important points when you are paying for English education. Is that you are feeling comfortable with the place where you are feeling comfortable with the people that are teaching you English, and you are feeling comfortable of how much you are paying for learning English. If these three points are right on the spot, you are in the right place. If not, you need to change it because yeah. Well, okay. Let's go at it. Let's go forward. I am in point. Oh, where am I? No, point number 4. Learning vocabulary,
Okay.
and this is something. I mean, something that could be fun and like playing games. Trying to learn a new word every single day. Just a new word, whatever it is. I was telling David the other day that I was watching a show on Prime Video called Other Range, and this guy is taking some whiskey on the bar, and suddenly out of the box he's leaving the place, so he's saying to the barman, "I'm going to take the Jakes." And I was, oh, I never heard that expression. That means that he's leaving the place. He's going to take the Jakes. So watching series, watching movies in English can give you this stuff, or learning something new, a phrase, a word, an expression, whatever, just something new that adds something to your vocabulary in English.
Vocabulary is a very important. I remember there's like some programs that advertise promising a number of words that you will learn in a period of time. Vocabulary, that's the lexical approach is one of the many ways that we've invented to teach people. And yeah, vocabulary is amazingly important in many senses because it allows you to understand, and it allows you to create chunks or groups of thoughts that you can communicate. And learning vocabulary in English is super easy. And let me tell you why. English is a very interesting language that's um, eh, very much connected to Spanish because of the many years of Latin invasion on the British Isles. And what happens is that there are over 8,000 words that we call cognates.
My God.
8,000 words that are similar in English and Spanish because they come from Latin roots, from Greek roots, from Arabic roots, or words that we've acquired from English or other languages that we share. So that is a very good idea to explore more and more words. One word a day, fantastic. There's applications. Actually, right now in Google, an application that well, there is a site part of the Google app that sends you one new word a day.
Ah,
Every
that's
day you
cool.
receive, you can if you have like on your cell phone the Google app, you can see any word. I use it. I learn a lot of vocabulary every day, and it's important for me because in my job
You
I
need
need
it,
to
yeah.
teach professionals, and I need to talk to
You
people
need
that
as
are
much as you can get, yeah.
yes. So and it's fun. It's fun because there's like the new word, and you can guess. So it's about consistency. Try to grab as much vocabulary as you can. If one word a day is good enough for you, do so because you know it's a lot better than nothing. And
Yeah.
now
Well,
the other thing you can do, yeah.
yeah, well, but as a professional, I recommend to you that you find a dictionary of terms of your profession in English. I have one for my profession. I had a finance dictionary with all the terms that I need in order to be able to write a mail or whatever I need for the work. So if you are a professional, you need to get a dictionary of professional terms of your profession or your career or whatever you are studying. It is very important because once you have the need to talk to somebody from other country and you don't know the terms, you will start to have to drag time and losing time because you don't know how to communicate the the specific of your work.
I think that is so very important. But do you know what happens with? We were asking, you were asking the other day. You will not find many schools that offer specialized language,
No,
and
no,
that is.
no.
But there's
You
mainly
won't
two
find
reasons.
no. There's none. I try. Yes, I can tell you this because like 10 years ago, I started to looking for a specialized school for learning the specifics of my work, and I couldn't find any. I mean, I couldn't even find an advanced group of speaking English. I know that nowadays there are because there are a lot of school English schools right now in Mexico. But 10 years ago, when I started looking for something, there was any in any place.
hmm Yeah, it's a pyramid. You know,
Yeah,
the vast majority of the learners are in basic levels, and as they advance, the number of students is reduced. And yeah, it's expensive for an English school to have a specialized course. They have to have somebody who knows, you know, and they have to pay well, and that's something we will talk about. It's interesting to know
well,
how much an English teacher earns.
but for me, then the companies on their very instance interest, they should have somebody that is a professional on the language of your I mean, at least of the work that you are doing in a company. You know, every single company has a specific language depending on what they are doing because every place is different. If you are in the need of putting this vocabulary and talking to people from other countries, you need to have at least one specialist at your place that can be able to communicate these things. If not,
Totally, yeah, or a manual, or a glossary,
a
or a
dictionary.
collection of, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And actually, many important companies, international companies do.
yeah.
They do have the manuals and procedures and protocols and glossaries for to, yeah, exactly. But as a learner, and as you pointed out. it's a hard road.
Okay,
It's
let's
a
pace
hard
it
road.
up. That these points take us to the next 2 points, which is if you don't study, you won't get a good English. And keep it simple because it's not a matter of getting things too complicated. You need to try to do this very simple as you can. But there is something very important because I was telling David today at the morning in the morning that I have seen a lot of videos that this guy saying you can learn English without studying. Yes, you can. You will probably talk, but your English will be as good as your Spanish.
Yeah, well, there's two factors. Factor number one is time.
Yeah,
No, studying doesn't, and that's because when you say study, most people think, nah, I don't want to sit down and memorize words. And study basically should refer to the amount of time that you devote to your personal exposure to the language. No,
yeah,
how much time you watch movies, that's studying. How
yeah,
much time you listen to podcasts like this, that's studying.
yes,
You know, how much time you devote how much time do you devote to reading in English,
yes.
that's a study. How much time you devote to speaking to somebody, that's a study.
But then
it,
also having the
mhm.
curiosity of once you are reading, once you are listening, once you are watching movies, that well, why they are saying this with this grammar? I mean, because
Yeah, when right now that we're studying C1,
oh yeah,
you know this, there's like a huge ton of expressions that they seem to be very difficult, and you're like, what? But then, hey, but this is the title of a movie, no? Or this
there
expression is in a song. So this is just something very interesting also to study. Something I disagree with is this distinction that the schools make, and they say, well, if you're a beginner student, you cannot learn expressions.
ah well,
To me,
that's
doesn't make
silly.
sense.
That's exactly what you should start learning expressions
Absolutely.
because you can get out of the way of and the problem of communicating with somebody else just using expressions.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
Why?
like
Exactly.
if you
Why?
were reciting titles of songs, you know?
Yes. Why should you start learning a language that nobody speaks?
Yeah. Well,
No.
I mean, I know that there are basics. I mean, what's your name? My name is okay. That's okay, but that's for kids. If you're an adult, you need to talk a very different English. You just can
Yeah.
talk that English.
Yes.
Hello. My name is Paquito. No.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is true for all languages, because that's the very
Yeah.
first thing you learn in every language. But that's not that useful
No.
if it's not the common expression, right?
Yes, I mean, which take us to the next point. It is important that you know slang so you can tell context. You know, Eh, I mean,
Hmm.
it's like
Hmm.
it's like in Mexico. There are many different ways of talking Spanish in Mexico. I mean, there's one way in the north. I mean, from Monterrey, people speaks one kind of Spanish. Chilango speaks another different type of Spanish. Veracruzanos. I mean, everybody speaks a different language, even though it's the
Hmm.
same Spanish that we all know of. But everybody has their expression. If you don't know the slang and you are talking to a person from a center part, you won't understand anything because the context is not there. And this is why it's really important to listen the movies in English and to take as much as you can because you will need that in order to understand context when you are speaking to a people from the states.
It is so very interesting. I think we need to have like a lot more space to talk about every one of these points more in detail.
Ah, yeah,
But
we can do a podcast of every single one of them.
uh, but to start summarizing, what you say is incredibly important. Keep it simple. Make it possible. So do what you can. We were talking about selecting a school for its price, but there are other things like time. Why will you pay for a course that is very expensive if you cannot devote time to studying
Yeah.
or doing the homework or even attending? No,
Yeah.
that's the whole truth. Because homework is another topic. uh, if your school, if your system requires you to do homework and you will not do it because you don't have time, why pay for it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So look for a school that suits, that is well balanced with your reality.
Yes.
Look for a school that shows results.
Yeah.
Yes, when you hear, no, that X teacher is very good. Oh yeah, show me his results. Tell me who has learned, where this person has gone, what the person does. That person who has been their student should tell you if the teacher is really good or not.
Well.
But in the best, just to conclude, the best thing is go, sit down, observe, and
Uh-huh.
decide. I liked it. I learned. Great.
You know that you are learning English if you can listen a movie without subtitles and you're understanding the stuff. You are learning.
Yeah, yeah, but the process is long. I mean,
Ah,
for you
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
get to that point, you need to have gone through a number of sessions with somebody, and how do you decide it in the first place? That's all the
Okay,
point.
I want to wrap it up this with two stuff. The first one is the mind process of your brain. Do you actually believe that we think in Spanish?
It's
Ideas are
very
actually in Spanish, or this is the idea that we have that I'm dreaming in Spanish. You know, I can see in my dreams clear picture of things happening, but they are not in Spanish. I'm translating my own ideas into my own language. And it's the same with English. Stop thinking in Spanish. Stop translating what you are talking. Just let it go. Like Frozen.
totally. I could not agree more with you. If something that experts recommend is relax. There is a very interesting Japanese methodology called Suggestopedia. It's not really Japan, but in Japan it was like it exploded like something where for you in an English class, what they do is they play classical music, incense, perfumes, and you're laying down. And when you get to the beta
Is this
frequencies of your brain, that's when the process
is this
starts.
related with mindfulness and stuff like that?
No, not really. It has to do with a level of consciousness
Ah, okay.
that allows you to eliminate barriers, eliminate your own self-image that does not let you, uh, move forward.
That
It's really one day we'll talk.
take it on that. And let's see how it goes. And the last tip, and this is for me is the most important one. Let me put it here. This, this. Okay. Don't mind the rest of the world. Everybody is an expert when it comes to learning something. Everybody will tell you, oh, well, I went to this place and it was really good. Look at my English. I'm super good at it. Or I took my children to this school and they are already speaking English. And then you hear these kids and, well, probably they do. Probably they don't. I mean, don't listen to anybody. Three very important things. You are feeling comfortable in the physical place. You are feeling comfortable with the people is teaching you English, and you are feeling comfortable on how much you are paying. If these things are right, don't listen to anybody else. You are on the right place. You will eventually learn English, and you will probably will be able to talk English very good or decently.
That's correct. That's correct. Totally agree with that. Use your critical thinking skills. Yes, be critical of everything you hear and find evidence that it really works.
Don't take anything for granted. If you are in a doubts that you are actually learning, take an exam on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of places where you can take an exam and evaluate yourself how you are doing, if you are actually learning what you want to learn. I mean, let's be honest, David. Not everybody is learning English for having a professional proficiency. Probably just you want to learn English so you can look movies, you can look series, you can go to the States and ask your favorite meal, to ask a hamburger on McDonald's in English. I mean, it doesn't have to be as complicated as we are saying. Only if you are in the need to, then you need to look for help, because you will need it. You need a dictionary, you need a certification, you need a lot of stuff. But if you only want to learn English so you can go on vacations, keep it simple. You don't need a lot of stuff. I mean, you can learn it at home.
Correct. Well, thank you very much. And something for the audience. If you're brave enough to have got to this point in the video, first of all, thank you very much for watching this session. I think this is a very important stuff that concerns a lot of people. If you like one of the topics, please comment so that we can spend more time with that topic, so we can talk about it more in depth. If you have an opinion, if you have an experience, also share, tell us about it so we can learn from that too, and maybe just change our opinions and listen to you. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, David. Okay, please remember, we are looking for somebody to join to us. I mean, if you want to show us how good your English is, if you want to speak with us for a specific topic, please let us know. Send us a message. I mean, most of you probably have our phone numbers, so you can send at WhatsApp, text, and let us know so we can do something together. Okay, David, I know you are in a hurry, so thank you very much for watching us today.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Thanks everyone. Good night.